always knew the bad news was coming with Todd, because he'd go, here's the thing. And he said, we're going to lose the orchestra in Dresden, and we have to do all of the conducting first. I do think there's a distinct lack of shame in society at the moment. I think shame is very different to guilt. Guilt is very useless.
It's sometimes good to be really simple. I mean, Matisse says this fantastic thing. It's just, don't try and be original. Just be simple.
All right, Blake Lively is out and about in the UK promoting her One Simple Favor, right? Is that the name? Yep, she's out. She's wearing this Chanel head to toe V. Here's the look and the runaway.
Look at these. They match my outfit. Look at those nails. Wow. Aren't they incredible?
Those are amazing.
I had time for that. I literally did it while it worked. It was a little chaotic. It was worth it.
Hello. I do, in a way. I think the less I know. And I've had a very eclectic and strange career that has taken me many places. But perhaps if there's any connective tissue in my career, it's the desire to know. It's the quest to unlock what it means to be human, that strange nub of fearful, joyful uncertainty that it is to be a human being. And to live a creative life, it's fueled with uncertainty and doubt. It's the DNA of how you begin any project. You have to humble yourself and say, I don't know, and I'm here to find out. Well, I always approach every role as a woman because I am. I don't really think about that. I do think there's a distinct lack of shame in society at the moment. I think shame is very different to guilt. Guilt is a very useless emotion. I don't know what you do with that. But shame and regret and the lessons one can learn from that I think are very powerful.
There was an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term? Frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
But I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway. A moment by me.
Remember Savannah.
It was another promise was no pet monkey. Yeah. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Your wardrobe?
That is important. Very good.
It's very important.
This is wardrobe.
This is wardrobe. This was on the return rack. I think it was hers. So I had to go and slip them cash to wear it today.
Hi, my question for Army. On Gossip Girl, who was the biggest diva on set?
Biggest diva on set of Gossip Girl.
You can say it because it's so far away from where you are now. That show's over. I suggest that you do not pass on another question.
Yeah. By the way.
Thank you, Tofu. I wish I could take all of my passes back and use them all right now. Yeah. Wow. Let me just say, that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film.
Really? Literally, you said, get me out of this.
It was also like, get him out of here. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it just literally was that. Whose love interest were you?
I was Blake Lively's love interest.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay, well
Sounds
then.
like she was the problem.
It sure does, Chelsea.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Don't put words into his mouth.
Yeah. Yes. Because my foot is already there.
No, it is not.
No, continue. Sorry, it's your show.
No, please, you continue. I'm interested in what you... No, I like it.
I need another drink.
Hey, Katie.
Hey, y'all are cracking me up. We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Justin said he doesn't know if he'd be game to direct the next one, but perhaps Blake would. Is that something that you would entertain?
Oh, absolutely. I think that whoever decides to take charge of the next one would do it justice. But, it's a lot of people to get the same schedules together again, so we'll see.
Oh, absolutely. She's
She's so capable of that. She is a powerhouse. She could do literally anything.
Everyone thought Blake Lively was Hollywood's golden girl, the picture-perfect wife, mother, and star who could do no wrong. Her life seemed like something out of a fairy tale, a loving family, a thriving career, and an image so flawless it bordered on untouchable. She was the darling of red carpets, the face of luxury brands, and the envy of fans worldwide. But beneath the polished surface lay secrets darker than anyone could have imagined, secrets that would soon unravel her carefully constructed persona. It wasn't just bad luck or coincidence. It all started when Cate Blanchett, one of the most respected figures in Hollywood, decided enough was enough. What followed was a series of events that exposed not only Blake's ambitions, but also the fragile foundation upon which her empire had been built. For years, Cate Blanchett and Chanel were inseparable, a partnership that felt almost poetic in its elegance. It wasn't flashy or loud. It was built on a foundation of class, heritage, and quiet prestige. Chanel had always been synonymous with timeless sophistication, and Cate embodied that spirit perfectly. So when the fashion house commissioned her husband, Andrew Upton, to create a cinematic short for their Women in Cinema campaign, it seemed like the ultimate tribute to storytelling and artistry. This wasn't just another marketing ploy. It was meant to be a legacy piece, something that would stand the test of time. The focus was clear: no glitz, no gimmicks, no over-the-top theatrics, just pure, unadulterated art. It was a project that celebrated the essence of cinema and honored the women who shaped it. But as fate would have it, this carefully crafted vision was about to unravel in ways no one could have anticipated. Little did they know, this legacy, a project steeped in meaning and respect, was about to be stolen right out from under them, leaving behind a trail of betrayal and shattered trust. Just as the project was nearing completion, disaster struck, or rather, sabotage. Without warning, Cate's campaign was quietly canceled, leaving insiders baffled and whispers swirling behind closed doors. In its place, Blake Lively, suddenly front and center, smiling brightly in head-to-toe Chanel, posing for photographers as if nothing unusual had transpired. But something didn't sit right with those who knew the backstory. Insiders whispered it wasn't coincidence, it was strategy. Allegedly, Blake's team had brokered a shiny new deal that Chanel simply couldn't resist. The terms of this deal remained shrouded in mystery, but one thing became painfully clear: it came at Cate's expense. It was a calculated takeover, executed with ruthless precision, designed not just to replace Cate, but to erase her involvement entirely. For years, Cate had been the face of Chanel's quiet elegance, a symbol of timeless grace and artistic integrity. Now, that legacy seemed to vanish overnight, traded for Blake's glossy, high-energy persona. To many, it felt less like progress and more like a hostile takeover, one that left lingering questions about loyalty, ambition, and the cost of success. The fallout didn't stop there. Months earlier, Cate had been personally invited to preview her husband Andrew Upton's film at an exclusive Chanel dinner in Paris, a prestigious event that was supposed to celebrate not only the artistry of cinema, but also the deep-rooted partnership between Cate and the iconic fashion house. It was meant to be a night of elegance, reverence, and quiet triumph, a testament to years of collaboration and mutual respect. But then, just 2 weeks before the event, everything changed. Without explanation or apology, Blake Lively was suddenly announced as the guest of honor, stealing the spotlight that had once belonged to Cate. The move was jarring, leaving insiders baffled and fans questioning what could have possibly led to such a drastic last-minute decision. Despite the blatant snub, Cate chose to attend the dinner anyway, head held high, exuding grace under pressure. She wasn't going to let anyone diminish her dignity, even if the evening now felt like a stage designed to overshadow her contributions. What happened next, however, turned the evening from awkward to outright explosive. During the dinner, Blake was reportedly overheard making dismissive comments about the original script for the Women in Cinema campaign, calling it outdated, and implying it lacked relevance in today's fast-paced world. Unbeknownst to Blake, Cate was sitting just a few feet away, quietly enduring the critique of something she and her husband had poured their hearts into creating. To make matters worse, a senior Chanel executive sitting nearby laughed along with Blake's remarks, seemingly agreeing with her assessment. The irony was almost too cruel to comprehend. The very script being mocked was written by Cate's own husband, Andrew Upton, who had dedicated months of his life to crafting a piece that aligned perfectly with Chanel's vision of timeless storytelling. For Cate, this moment must have felt like a knife to the chest, a public humiliation delivered not only by Blake, but also by the brand she had trusted and supported for so long. It wasn't just petty, it was a calculated blow to her legacy, executed in front of some of the most influential figures in fashion and entertainment. And though Cate didn't say a word in response, the tension in the room was palpable, lingering long after the laughter faded. When Chanel accidentally published an old interview referencing Cate's work on the project, the internet exploded. Fans were quick to pounce, dragging Blake mercilessly across social media platforms. The screenshots of the article spread like wildfire, with Twitter threads dissecting every detail and Reddit forums debating the ethics of Blake's alleged takeover. Accusations flew thick and fast. Fans accused her not only of stealing Cate's spotlight, but also of erasing years of hard work and dedication that Cate and her husband had poured into the project. Blake's PR team scrambled to contain the damage, issuing vague statements about misunderstandings and coincidences, but their efforts felt hollow against the tidal wave of public outrage. It was too little, too late. The narrative had shifted entirely, and Blake was now the villain everyone loved to hate. What started as whispers among insiders quickly became a mainstream conversation, with hashtags like #JusticeForCate trending for days. Even casual observers who hadn't followed the drama closely began to question Blake's intentions and integrity. Her carefully curated image as Hollywood's golden girl was starting to crack, and once those cracks appeared, there was no stopping the flood of criticism that followed. While Blake panicked, frantically trying to control the narrative and salvage her crumbling reputation, Cate Blanchett remained eerily calm. She didn't engage in public mudslinging or resort to dramatic theatrics. Instead, she chose a far more powerful approach, letting her actions speak louder than any words ever could. It was a masterclass in grace under pressure, a testament to the quiet strength that defined Cate's career both on and off screen. Months after the Chanel controversy had erupted, Cate attended a low-profile humanitarian award ceremony, a stark contrast to the glitzy, high-stakes world of fashion and fame. As she stepped onto the stage to accept her honor, few expected what came next. In her acceptance speech, Cate slipped in a line so cutting, so perfectly timed, that it resonated far beyond the walls of the venue. "There's a difference," she said, pausing for effect, "between honoring a story and owning it like it was always yours. One builds legacy, the other builds ego." The audience erupted into applause, unaware of the layers of meaning embedded in those carefully chosen words. To those in the know, however, it was an unmistakable jab at Blake's audacity and the lengths she'd gone to claim what wasn't hers. But Cate wasn't done yet. Not long after the award ceremony, she and her husband, Andrew Upton, premiered a small, intimate play in Sydney titled The Credit. On the surface, it seemed like just another artistic endeavor, a modest production far removed from the glitz of Hollywood blockbusters or luxury brand campaigns. But the title alone was enough to send shockwaves through the industry. For those paying attention, it was impossible not to see the parallels between the play's themes and the very public drama that had unfolded between Cate and Blake. Was it coincidence? Or was this Cate's way of ensuring the final word would be hers? Either way, the message was clear. The credit served as a subtle but devastating reminder of everything Blake had tried, and ultimately failed, to steal. While Blake's attempts to overshadow Cate only highlighted her own desperation, Cate's response was measured, deliberate, and unshakable. It was a quiet victory, but one that spoke volumes about the kind of person Cate truly was and the kind of person Blake wasn't. By mid-2023, the cracks in Blake's carefully crafted image began to show, and they were impossible to ignore. Brand deals that once poured in steadily started cooling off, with luxury labels and high-profile endorsements suddenly going silent. Interview opportunities, which had been a staple of her career, dried up almost overnight. Even longtime fans, who had once defended her as Hollywood's golden girl, began to question the persona she had so meticulously built. Old stories that had been buried or dismissed as rumors started resurfacing with alarming frequency. Allegations of bullying behavior on the set of Gossip Girl became a hot topic online, with insiders claiming Blake made life difficult for her co-stars. Leighton Meester, in particular, was allegedly on the receiving end of cruel jokes and passive-aggressive comments. Sources hinted that Blake would mock Leighton's professionalism behind closed doors, then accuse her of being uptight when she didn't laugh along. It wasn't just limited to her co-stars, either. Blake reportedly hijacked moments meant for others, redirecting attention back to herself at every opportunity. Whether it was stealing the spotlight during joint interviews or subtly undermining colleagues in group settings, her behavior left a trail of frustration in its wake. Fans who dug deeper into these accounts uncovered even more troubling anecdotes, stories of diva-like demands on set, dismissive attitudes toward crew members, and an unrelenting need to dominate every room she walked into. The internet, known for its insatiable appetite for drama, finally saw through the polished facade Blake had spent years perfecting. What they found underneath was far from the picture-perfect wife, mother, and star she portrayed in interviews and social media posts. Instead, they discovered someone whose ambitions seemed to outweigh her empathy, and audiences weren't shy about voicing their disappointment. Memes mocking her behavior went viral, hashtags calling out her alleged hypocrisy trended, and even neutral observers couldn't help but weigh in. It was clear. Blake Lively's reputation was crumbling, one scandalous revelation at a time. Blake Lively's fall from grace wasn't sudden. It was a slow unraveling, death by 1,000 cuts, each one meticulously sharpened by arrogance, ego, and a profound underestimation of Cate Blanchett's quiet but unshakable power. In Hollywood, where image is everything and perception often outweighs reality, Blake seemed untouchable. She had carefully crafted an aura of perfection, polished, poised, and seemingly above reproach. But beneath that glossy exterior lay a web of missteps, calculated moves, and moments of undeniable entitlement that eventually caught up with her. While Blake buried herself deeper and deeper in controversy, frantically trying to control the narrative, Cate took a different approach altogether. She didn't need to shout or retaliate. She simply let her actions speak louder than words. Her subtle yet deliberate responses, a cutting remark at an awards ceremony, the premiere of The Credit, a play that felt almost too perfectly timed, were masterclasses in restraint and dignity. Cate understood something Blake failed to grasp, that true legacy isn't built on flashy campaigns or manufactured personas. It's rooted in authenticity, integrity, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth. And so, as Blake scrambled to salvage what remained of her reputation, the world began to see the stark contrast between the two women. One had risen through sheer force of ambition, only to crumble under the weight of her own hubris. The other stood firm, letting her art and character do the talking, proving that sometimes the most powerful statement is the absence of noise. Because in Hollywood, the bright lights may dazzle and distract, but they don't hide everything. Not forever. Scandals have a way of lingering, resurfacing, and evolving into something far bigger than anyone can contain. And no amount of PR spin or strategic silence can rewrite the truth once it's been exposed. Eventually, the truth always leaks out, and when it does, it leaves an indelible mark.